In this video, I will explain how we can use Webpack 5 and specifically the module federation plugin, and how to configure webpack.config.js or the configuration file in general to be able to build micro frontends, which will take multiple components from different websites, from different other micro frontends. It can be built with anything: React, Vue, Angular. But in this example, I will use React, and I will put those micro frontends using Webpack 5. This video specifically, I'm focusing on configuring Webpack 5 and the configuration file, and I will show it step by step how to be able to understand what actually Webpack is doing behind the scene. So I hope you will enjoy the journey. Hello everyone. In this series I will talk about something that's very important and it's evolving recently, what it's called micro frontends. But specifically in this video or this series of videos, I'll talk about creating micro frontends, sharing between two micro frontends different components, putting it from micro frontend 1 into the host, which in this project will be MFE2, and then after that we will deploy it to S3. We will show how to convert S3 to be a website, static website, and Webpack will help us on this because it will generate those static content so that you can just store it in an S3 bucket that's configured to be a website, and then we will read it from there. Both micro frontend will store the component on S3 bucket, different than the host, which is completely different website on S3 bucket, and we'll share between those and show how can we share components between different micro frontends. I hope you will enjoy the journey. This will be the final site that we will see. It's micro frontend 1, and this is public site. As you can see, you can just, this is the link to the S3 bucket, and here we are actually exposing micro frontend, the button from micro frontend 1, MFE1, and it is you can see, as you can see here, we're rendering it on the host micro frontend. Of course, as we go into the videos, we will create more complicated one, but I wanted to have these simple steps so that you understand the basics of it. In the text below the video, I'll be sharing the original article I posted on LinkedIn and Medium, also the code in GitHub and GitLab as well. And if you visited my site https://rani.tk, you will find also other links and other articles that will explain the micro frontends as well. Please like, subscribe, enable the notifications and share so that you can receive future videos in this subject, and for others also to benefit from it and to be able to reach a wider audience. Thank you for watching. If you don't have Node.js or Yarn or npm or Create React app, please follow the linked video up there, and it's here. This is how it looks like. It's called Install Node.js, npm, Create React app, and Visual Studio as well. There is another video for installing Visual Studio. We'll need them in this video to be able to follow on. I will not repeat those steps. Also, I will put the link below the video for the article that explained this as well. So let's start by creating the container. So here I'm inside the code. Let's create a directory and let's call it MFE for micro frontend. First, I'll go inside the micro frontend, and then let's say npx create-react-app, and let's call it container. This will be the container that will host other micro frontend components. And let's let it create the component for now. Now let's create another micro frontend. Let's call it micro frontend 1. After it's finished, let's create a third one, MFE2, npx create-react app MFE2. Now let's go to inside the directory container after it finishes, and let's clear the screen and Now let's open Visual Studio Code by writing code space dot. If you don't remember how to do that, you can go to the previous video. I will link it here as well. And inside this, we'll go to index.js to rename it the next step. After you open Visual Studio Code, let's rename index.js to bootstrap.js. Let's clean the bootstrap file, remove the CSS, import CSS, remove the report vitals, remove the one at the end as well. Let's remove the React restrict mode and only keep app and put comma here and save. Let's create a new file called index.js, and this is where we import bootstrap. Inside index.js, import bootstrap, and we're doing this actually to be in a sync mode so that it will not fail until it be able to fetch the components from the URL that we're providing in the remote micro frontend. Let's do the exact same thing for MFE1 and MFE2 by renaming index.js to bootstrap.js and import bootstrap.js in a new file called index.js. I would like to share with you one of the important snippets or extensions in Visual Studio Code, which is React Snippet. So if you go to the look for React Snippet, you'll find this one, Es7 React. And if you go down and try to look for the instructions, it's like you write few letters and it will automatically finish it for you. So if you click install and let's try it. So I created a component file. Let's close this one and then just write React arrow function component, and voila. When you have the export at the end, it creates all the boiler code for you and saves time for you. So this is actually amazing and one of the extensions that I use a lot. Let's go to the root directory that has the 3 micro frontends. Write code space dot to open Visual Studio Code to work on the 3 micro frontends. Now let's copy bootstrap.js from container into Micro Frontend 1 source directory and Micro Frontend 2 source directory because they will be exactly the same bootstrap.js. Let's go to index.js for Micro Frontend 1, delete everything and put import bootstrap as we've done in container, and let's do exactly the same thing in MFE2. Go to index.js, clear everything and keep only import bootstrap. Now let's create the button component by creating a new file and we call it button.js, and then we will use the snippet that I explained before. Use the snippet that I explained before to create the React component by just writing RAFCE as you see. If you are wondering about the snippet that I used, this is the extension I used in Visual Studio Code. It's called Es7 React Snippet, and it's amazing. You just put a few words and it will continue create a React component, React class, a lot of things that it can do. It's called Es7 React Redux GraphQL React Native Snippets, and I have a specific short video for that that's linked to this video. You can see it on the top right. Thank you. Let's create a very simple button in MFE1. So say button, and let's say it's a button from MFE1, for example. So it will look like this at the end, and this is what we will export from MFE1 and show on the container. After I finish the button, let's go to app.js, clean everything, delete everything and create a new React component, RAFCE, and it will create a React component. Now let's import this button that we created in the previous step, it's from button, and add it inside the div. It will be like this. Just open the bracket and say button, and this is it. So let's go start configuring Webpack in MFE1. Create a file called webpack.config.js, and this is where we will build the configuration for Webpack. Now from inside Visual Studio Code, right click on MFE1, open terminal, and this will open a terminal inside the directory of MFE1. Now let's install 2 packages. So say yarn add webpack and webpack-cli, which will need to be able to compile. and it will, after it's finished, you'll find that it installed webpack-CLI 4.5. Of course, you might see different releases here and different versions. So before we configure, let's try to compile first by saying yarn webpack, and this will give lots of error. Don't worry about them. I want to see just which one we'll start the configuration with, which is we need to enable the mode to be development first. Now let's add the mode development by inside webpack.config.js, write module.exports, and then have the mode which has the development mode, so we can start compiling. Now let's try to build one more time, but before we build, I want you to watch the directory under MFE1. You will find there is no directory called dist, D-I-S-T. Now let's try to do yarn webpack one more time. You'll get lots of error, don't worry about them, but notice the dist folder that's being created on the left hand side. This is very important because this is the folder that we will deploy to S3. It's now missing index.html, which we will build in the next step, but right now the build is successful in building those two important JavaScript that I will talk about them later. We have lots of other errors, don't worry about them. We'll fix all of those in the next video. So what happened here is that Webpack actually took all the dependency and all the code that we have in index.js and app.js and bundled it in main.js that you can see in front of you. Now let's add a server with a port so we can render and see it on the browser. So we add here in the webpack.config.js dev server, and we add port. Let's use 8001 for MFE1. So let's go to the terminal and start the server by saying yarn webpack serve. This will actually start a server on port 8001, as you can see here. If you try to browse there, you will not find anything because of the error down there that we have, because we did not add the React, the Babel loader, which we'll add it in the next video. What we have done so far is that we created a Webpack server that runs in localhost 8001, and if you browse localhost 8001/main.js, which is the one that it's already has been built, you'll be able to see the content of the file that it bundled. You can see also the notification of the part about source index.js, but now we need to create HTML so we can see website. We can see the HTML and content, not the main.js content. For Webpack to generate the index.html that will link all the bundled JavaScripts that it will create, we'll need to import or use the HTML Webpack plugin. As you can see here, first we import it since this is Node.js, so this is the way to import it here. Now let's build again, but notice also the directory on the left side. When we build, it will create a new destination again, folder, yarn Webpack, and then it will create the dist and it include HTML this time. So here's the final webpack.config.js. It includes the require statement and the plugins. Now let's go to the original HTML file under public, and let's clean the head, all the head component, and let's create a new head tag again, and let's only add title for now inside it, and let's call it Webpack. When you go to the browser, you will notice that Webpack added the main.js again. We didn't add main.js to the main file, but we have here the original file, which is clean head again. It has only title Webpack, and you can notice the Webpack title up there as well. Let's add some more content to the HTML file. Let's add an h1 tag inside the body, the first thing in the body, and let's call it Micro Frontend 1, as you can see in front of you. When you refresh the page, it will look as following with the title Webpack and header Micro Frontend 1. And now it's time to enable React. To enable React, we need to add module rules to webpack.config.js. As you can see in front of you, we add a list of rules. The first rule we add is kind of a rule for the Babel loader to translate anything that has the extension JS, JSX, anything with the extension starts with JS. And this will help in translating like any advanced JavaScript into ES5. And then we add the Babel loader, which will translate React, which is the first one, preset-react, the second one I mean, and the first one, which preset-env, to translate any advanced ES Java into ES5 that the browser understands. When you restart Yarn Webpack serve and refresh the page, it will look as you can see in front of you, a line from index and line from React. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, enable notifications so you can receive latest videos, and share. And again, thanks for watching. You can visit my website https://rani.tk for more videos and clips on latest technology.